space and add more, whatever. That's okay. I'm not too concerned about that. Alrighty, welcome, guys. This is Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider and certified veteran mortgage advisor. And I want to welcome you to Veteran Mortgage Advisor Weekly, where we talk about the VA loan every single week. Okay. So uh, today we're going to talk about the myth that people think that you can only get one VA loan at a time. Okay. My name is Larry Lee, like I said, and that's my information. And we're serving those who serve. Okay. Now, real quick introduction. I'm a certified vendor mortgage advisor and branch manager at the Larry Lee team, and I'm a licensed loan officer since 2016, which is 6 years. I have a side hustle as a social media marketing coach and running my own ad agency, Robots LLC. The reason why I mention that is because I'm working on combining the two passions. The fact that I'm a social media coach, but I'm also uh, really motivated to help veterans with the VA loan. Okay. I'm licensed in 11 states: Arizona, California, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. Excuse me. My name is Larry Lee, and I love the mortgage business, but I was fed up with the lack of education and information clients were being provided during the application process. So I created a first-time homebuyer coaching class for mortgage clients that provides instant access to answers to questions and simple explanations to the mortgage process and how to qualify. I also provide one-on-one coaching for those who want it. So basically, what I'm saying is that I'm trying to provide content information for people who want to learn about the mortgage process but do not want to or they're not ready to engage with a loan officer because we're salespeople. Okay, it can be intimidating, and they might not want to commit to anybody. So what they want information that a loan officer can provide, but they don't want to talk to a loan officer yet. So that's what I want to provide for those individuals. Now, if you want one-on-one coaching, then you do have to engage with me. You do have to talk to me. The other information, you can ghost me and never talk to me. It doesn't matter, as you still have access to the information. But if you want one-on-one coaching, you do have to talk to me. Okay. Unlike other loan officers, I made it my passion to coach first-time home buyers on the mortgage process, and that makes all the difference of how I've helped hundreds of people get on the right path to home ownership, with many of them becoming homeowners. You remind me of many of my smart, successful, savvy clients who are now homeowners because you are taking the right step in the home purchasing process by educating yourself and being prepared, like they did. Basically, you being on this call is a part of that. Okay. The home buying process is very confusing to most people, but that is why I am here to simplify this process and make sure you are 100% prepared in the home buying process and to become ahead of the competition in this insane market. For example, I can fully underwrite clients before they even go and make offers. Therefore, they can make a stronger, more competitive offer. They can say that they can close faster, and they have nothing to worry about because they're already fully underwritten. And TBD means to be determined. Basically, we're just waiting for the appraisal on the home, and we're done. So it's almost as good as a cash offer. Okay, and things like that. I provide that for my clients to give them again a competitive edge in this again very insane market. Okay. Um, I'm very proud of my certificate. That's why I put it there. The only time I get to brag about it. But yes, again, I'm a certified veteran mortgage advisor, so I take this seriously. Okay. My why, of course, is my family, my wife and my kids, but specifically more on Hunter and Bruce, which are the two that are pictured below, because they're both on the spectrum for autism, nonverbal, and I want to help them develop. And I've been told many times by many people I trust who are parents of children on the spectrum for autism that ABA therapy is a game changer. So I want to provide enough resources. I want to have enough resources this year in order to provide them their therapy. Okay. My next why is, of course, veterans, right? And the next post is going to explain directly why. I want to help veterans. My father was living in Da Nang, Vietnam during the fall of Saigon. My mother lived in Saigon. My father left by helicopter, my mother by boat. It was U.S. soldiers who helped them get into the helicopter and on that boat because obviously they're U.S. military ships. They both met in Hong Kong, China, at a refugee camp. If it wasn't for U.S. If it wasn't for a U.S. soldier, my parents may not have survived, met, and had me, and I wouldn't have what I have today. I might not even exist. So those U.S. soldiers, presumably, are veterans now. So thank you, vets. I owe you my life, and I really do feel I owe a debt of gratitude to those men and women who helped my family. They were probably just following orders. They didn't realize that they were actually creating futures. They were creating lives. They were creating families. Like I said, I would have my wife and kids. Why at least wouldn't have my kids for sure. My wife, I don't know, but I would have my kids if 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 I wasn't, you know, I guess, a child of a person that was helped by the U.S. military. Okay. All right. So, what is a VA home loan? A VA home loan is a mortgage guaranteed by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs and is issued by a private lender such as a bank, credit union, or a mortgage company. The reason why I bring this up because a lot of people think it's the VA that's actually lending the money. It's not the case. VA, they guarantee the loan. They were basically saying if you lend money to this veteran and they were to default for any reason, we will cover a portion of the value of the home up to 25%. So basically, they're putting that down payment if needed. If they don't need it, then nothing ever happens. The VA just got the house and they pay off the loan, and that's that, right? But if the veteran were to default, then the VA is saying we will pay up to 25% of the value of the home to you, as a vouching for the veteran. Okay, that's basically what the VA home loan is. Okay. Now, before we talk about the topic at hand, which in my perspective, it should be an easy conversation. The ability to have two VA loans at one time. I want to talk about the opportunity on why it is beneficial to focus on VA loans if you're a real estate agent or if you're a veteran and you're trying to buy a house, right? Millennials and Gen Z push VA loans to a record in 2021. Millennial Gen Z veterans account for more than half of all VA purchase loans in the record year of the historic benefit program, according to National Mortgage News. Gen Z in particular is starting to make its presence felt in markets across the country. Okay. And if you are a real estate agent, you're probably, can probably name who's the biggest generation that's buying right now. It's millennials, and Gen Zs are up and coming. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of a funny picture. You got like millennial veterans, or not veterans, active duty members taking selfies, right? Opportunity. Non-veteran millennials struggle. Veteran millennials thrive. And despite many non-military millennials having a tough time buying homes, often saddled with student debt and working to save for a down payment, millennial and Gen Z veterans accounted for half of all VA purchase loans in fiscal year 2020, according to Chicago Tribune. So many millennials are stuck on the sidelines because they don't have great credit, they don't have the savings for down payment. They continued. Younger veterans and service members are really ahead of the curve when it comes to home buying compared with their civilian counterparts. Now, I want you to kind of understand the reason why I like this slide is because it points out the difference between a millennial who's a civilian and a millennial who is a veteran. Millennials who are civilians have a lot of student debts and they have a tough time saving money and their credit's not as good. Whereas the veteran, they don't need to have a down payment because they are getting the home for zero down. And they probably don't have student debts because if they went to school, they probably use the GI Bill, which is how they get their education paid for by the government. And credit scores, well, the VA actually has lower than normal credit scores compared to like conventional. Okay. In fact, they technically don't have a credit requirement. It's lenders who create that requirement. The VA themselves don't have a credit requirement. Okay. The VA loan outperforms all other loans in 2021. Today, VA loans actually close at a higher rate than conventional mortgages for all home purchases in June 2021. 70% of VA loans successfully closed compared to 51% of all mortgages, according to Ellie Mae, a mortgage application software company. Ellie Mae is the one who creates Encompass, which is probably like more than half of the loan officers use that to create their loans. Okay. And they're being utilized more often as well. Data from the Department of Veterans shows that the number of VA loans went up 8% year over year in 2021, making the 10th consecutive year of growth. So basically, they're growing constantly and they're performing better, right? I mean, again, in this particular statistic, 70% of VA loans closed, whereas 51% of other loans closed. So it's almost like a 20% difference. And my theory as to why that's happening is because it's easier to qualify for the VA loan if you're a veteran, number one. And number two, the VA loan is just better underwritten if it's handled by the right people. It's better structured and underwritten by the right people. Okay. If you hear a lot of negatives about the VA loan, a lot of times it's because the wrong people who are not certified or people who are not well versed on the VA loan are trying to do the loan. Okay. VA loans are more flexible than with buying power. This is my favorite part of the VA loan. When I first heard about it, this is why I was like, dude, this is a great loan program. Okay. The VA loan typically have lower interest rates than conventional mortgages, allow for higher debt to income ratios and lower credit scores, and they don't require private mortgage insurance. If you can qualify for the VA loan, it is the best program out there. Now, I want you to focus on that real a little bit. Okay. Lower interest rates, okay, which means more buying power because you're paying less interest, therefore freeing up money so you can use that towards your mortgage payments. They allow for higher debt to income ratio. So basically, you have more buying power per dollar, right? Meaning the amount that you can buy as a veteran is higher than a normal person because the VA loan allows for a higher debt to income ratio. They allow you to have more debt, meaning more house or whatever else that you have going on compared to your income. Okay. And they allow for lower credit scores. Again, I told you earlier, the VA actually doesn't have a minimum credit score requirement. That's a lender overlay or lender created requirement. But because of that, when I say we, I'm talking about the lending environment, the lending industry, are more willing to loan to people with a lower credit score on the VA loan because there is no requirement by the VA. Okay, there's no hard number that the VA denies us at. Okay, and that just tells me more opportunity. That's basically why I like it. Okay. Again, more statistics. The military is the USA largest employer with over 3.1 million employees worldwide. Over 1.4 million VA loans were originated in 2021. Veteran home ownership exceeds the national average by 20%. So what that means is when you compare the veteran community versus the civilian community, there's a 20% increase, or not increase. There's just 20% more people in the veteran community owning homes versus civilians. So it just means that they are more likely to be homeowners compared to civilians. Okay. Military personnel continue to relocate every 2 to 5 years. Career service members move numerous times, repeat purchase business. Basically, those two different statistics states that veterans tend to move a lot. So it's a lot of opportunity as a real estate agent if you're considering niching towards the VA loan or focusing on the VA loan, right? Texas had 1,435,787 veteran residents in 2021, and the number is climbing. Texas also had 34 billion of VA purchases in 2021. And I'm talking about Texas because I'm here, but the numbers are pretty staggering. Any state that you look at. Okay, and 28.2% of Texas veterans have a service-connected disability. The reason why that's important is the VA has a setup where there's an opportunity to get tax benefits, like not paying taxes, if you have a disability that's service related. That's true in Texas, and I know it's true because it just happened recently in North Carolina and other states as well. So that's a pretty significant number and something you should consider, right? I'm not telling you to go out there and look for disabled veterans. I'm just saying if you are speaking to a disabled veteran, they actually have an added benefit with the VA loan. They have an added benefit with the VA loan. Okay. Veteran home owner statistics. Only 20% of qualified veteran homeowners are currently using their VA home loan. So out of 100 veterans who own homes, only 24 of them are using the VA loan. That doesn't make any sense, right? Why? There's a loan built for them, for that particular individual, and only 24 out of 100 are using it. Okay. Less than 5 years ago, only 12% of veterans were using their VA loan benefits, but it's a slowly growing number due to growing awareness among internet savvy veterans. And again, what that's saying is that out of 100 veterans who qualify for the VA loan, only 12 of them are using it. That means there's 88 people, or 88% of veterans who are renting when they actually can qualify to buy. They're just not aware that they're able to buy, or they're not aware of the VA loan, right? 33% of veterans that have a mortgage. Okay, so yeah, but you have to think about this. Everyone who has a mortgage right now who's a veteran, only 33% of them, only 33% of them knew about the VA loan. That means 1/3. That means every 3 veterans that came in and talked to a loan officer, only 1/3 of them knew about the VA loan. Oh no. I said no. I'm sorry. 1/3 of them did not. Yeah, 1/3 did not know about the VA loan. So that's 30% of the veterans didn't know that there was a VA loan. Okay, and 46% of veterans reported their lender had not even brought up the VA loan option. So half of the veterans who apply said that their loan officer didn't even mention the VA loan. Why not? Right? It is insane. Like it's almost to the point where people don't want to do VA loans, or the loan officers are afraid of VA loans, or whatever, right? And maybe because they're not well versed in it, or they have a negative perspective on it, which is why I do these classes to try to help educate loan officers and those agents that they're wrong, or maybe they're just scared, right? Or again, they might just not know. Okay, but that's a problem. Okay, that I mean, again, why is only 24% of the veterans who own a home on the VA loan? Why is only 12% of the veterans who qualify for a mortgage is using the VA loan? Well, that's probably why. No one's talking about it, and that's why I'm here to change that. Okay. All right. So I believe there should be three mandatory questions you should ask every borrower. And I say three, but really should start with one and then can lead to three. The first one is, are you or your spouse a veteran? And I know it might sound kind of awkward. Why would you ask that question? But if you ask that question and you end up speaking to a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, then uh, it can make a big difference in the conversation. And if they don't know about the VA loan, which this statistic shows that a lot of veterans don't know about the VA loan, if you tell them about the VA loan and they find out it's 2% down, you'll basically be their hero. Okay. So the first question you should ask is, are you or your spouse a veteran? If they say yes, then you ask them, are you entitled to disability from the VA? And then, of course, the next question is, do you have your certificate of eligibility yet? Those are the questions you should ask every borrower who's a veteran. Okay. Or the first one you should ask every borrower, but the other two is the one you should ask if you do find out they are a veteran. Okay. All right. So myth busting. As you can see, I've already talked about a couple of these. Now, I actually did talk about number 6. VA appraisals are tougher, but I did that out of order only because someone asked about it in the beginning. So I went ahead and addressed it right away. But this is basically the last myth that I need to bust, which is you can only have one VA loan at a time. Okay. People all the time ask me this when I'm talking about people, I'm talking about real estate agents and veterans. Like they go, hey, I already used the VA loan to buy a house. Can I still use it? I mean, I heard that you can't. I'm going to break down the facts right now. Okay. The myth is you may only have one VA loan at a time. The truth is a question of eligibility, entitlement, and qualifications, meaning it's not across the board. You can only use one. There's things to consider, right, to see if you can buy another house using a VA loan. Okay. So the certificate of eligibility, or COE, we call it the golden ticket, right? It's basically tells you everything. Okay. It tells you all the information required to determine the veteran's eligibility, and it lets you know what they are eligible for, right? And if they, and of course, they have to qualify for the loan, right? Like in this phrasing right here, it's possible to be eligible, meaning you have the opportunity to buy a house using the VA loan. I mean, they will help you get it for 0% down, but you might not qualify, right? You might not have income, or your credit scores are really that bad, or whatever, right? Or it is also possible to qualify, meaning like you have perfect credit, you have all the income in the world, you have all the funds, but you are not eligible because you used it up, or whatever. Right? So it's not. There's two pillars to it, right? And I'm not going to really break down how to read this, but what you really got to look at is just this part right here, right? The total time charge to the previous loan was 36,000. Basic income is 0. Right there, pretty much kind of kills you everything. Okay. In this particular case, this veteran has already used their eligibility, their basic entitlement, right, for $104,000 house, or $140,000 loan. Well, it's probably $140,000 house because they bought it at 0% down. But there's something called the bonus entitlement, which I'm going to bring up as well. But I think this is where most people can kind of get confused. They're like, okay, well, he had 36,000, his basic income is 0, so he no longer has anything to buy, right? But if you read right here, additional entitlement is available for most loans in excess of 144,000. In such cases, the entitlement amount is 25% of the VA loan limit for the county where the property is located. County loan limits are adjusted annually, and the current limits are available at www.homeloans.va.gov. Okay, so all you gotta know is this is what their basic is, but they're saying that you can use more. Okay, there's a few other details right here. Maybe it talks about like the fact that they're getting disability. In this case, they're exempt, right? Because they're exempt from the funding fee, which is like a cost that the VA charges the veteran in order to do the loan. They're saying they're exempt because they're getting a service-connected disability, and this is what their income is from that, right? So the COE is very helpful. Okay, all right. So uh, these are the myths. You can only have one VA loan at a time. If you foreclose on a VA loan, you can never have another one. And the VA has a max loan amount. These are all incorrect. Okay? I don't know what happened to my slide here. It usually says something here, but basically these are incorrect statements. And this is what a lot of people are thinking, right? Again, you only have one VA loan at a time. If you foreclose, you're done. That's it. You can't do it anymore. And there's a max loan limit. Okay. So let's talk about entitlement. We kind of talked about this earlier, a couple slides ago, right? Basic entitlement can allow you to purchase a home from 0 to 144,000, right? You do the math. 25% is what they're willing to guarantee. So 25% of 144,000 is 36,000. So I mean, there's a lot of information here, but I'm just making it very simple for you. What that means is that if they buy a $144,000 house, the VA will provide $36,000 of entitlement towards the house. Again, no money's being exchanged from the VA and anyone else unless the people were to foreclose or default or not pay their loan, right? Then the VA is like saying, okay, Mr. Lender, thank you for taking a chance with this veteran. Unfortunately, they're not going to make their payments, but we're going to give you the guarantee that we owe you because you did provide the ability for this veteran to buy a house, and it's up to 25%, whatever it is. So in this case, 144,000, they're giving the lender 36,000. That's basically what it means. It's like a down payment, but after the fact. Okay. Now the bonus entitlement goes beyond that. Okay. Bonus entitlement is whatever above 144,000, and again, it's 25% of the loan amount, right? So in this example, and I'm using Texas here, but you know it's true pretty much in every state. Okay, this is a loan limit that's regularly used all over the country. Okay, but the loan limit is $548,250. And you have to think about this: the VA loan limit is also the loan limit for VA is also probably the purchase price because the veteran is trying to buy it at zero down. So loan and purchase price might be very similar. Okay, so basically they're saying this house is $548,000. Okay, so the guarantee, the VA, the veteran is allowed $137,063 as entitlement, right? That's basically what the VA is guaranteeing, right? But let's say they bought a house at 144,000. He already used 36,000 of that, right, in the basic entitlement. So really, he only has 101,000 in entitlement. So he actually can buy another house up to 404,250. So basically, in this environment or example, a veteran can have two homes, $144,000 home and a $404,000 home. You see what I'm saying? So that's two VA loans right there. So in this example alone, I dispelled that myth. Okay, because again, it's not about number of loans; it's about how much you have left in your entitlement. In this particular case, they can buy up to the loan limit, right? And because they are used up part of the entitlement, they have to subtract that, so they can buy up to 404,250. Okay, in this case, if the veteran wanted to buy a home that's $100,000 more than the loan limit, right? So let's say the loan limit is like, or actually, let's not even look at that. Let's look at this. If they're allowed to buy a $404,250 home, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. $404,250 home, and then they want to buy something that's $504,250, then they would have to literally come up with 25% of that. It's almost like matching the guarantee, right? The VA is going to allow up to 25% of whatever's left in the entitlement. Actually, the VA is going to allow 25% of the loan limit, subtracting whatever they used as what they'll guarantee, which is 25%. And if you want to buy anything above the loan limit, you have to come up with the 25%, right? So if it's, let's say it's 10,000 above, right? So instead of 404,250, it's $14,250. Well, then you got to come up with $2,500 because that's 25%. That's kind of like how the math works. Okay. So to simplify it, you're allowed the counter loan limit. If you have used your entitlement before, like on a basic entitlement, you have to subtract that purchase price by the amount that you no longer have. If you want to buy anything above that, 25% is required by the lender. I'm sorry, 25% is provided is expected by the borrower, the veteran, as a down payment. Okay, so again, I mean, in this very simple case, if he or she wants to buy a $414,250 home, and that's $10,000 above what they're allowed to buy, then their down payment is $2,500 on a $404,000, $404,250,000 home. I always say that wrong. I'm sorry. Basically, whatever's above what they're allowed to buy with the 0% down guarantee, they have to come up with 25% of that. That's basically how it works. Okay. And I'll probably do that math again later on to kind of simplify it because I think I kind of confused you guys, maybe, possibly. Let me go ahead and add some people here. Okay. So let's talk about foreclosures because that's another question, or that's another thing that people bring up. Like, if a house gets foreclosed, does that mean they're done? Like, they bought a house as a veteran with a VA loan and they foreclose on the home. Does that mean that they're no longer allowed? Like, they're done. Like, VA's not going to help anymore. The way it actually works, it's kind of like, I mean, it might be dangerous to say this, but it's kind of like they still own the home, right? In the example previous, I stated how if they bought a house for 140,000 and then they want to buy a second house, they can use whatever's left of the loan limit guarantee to buy another house. Let's just use simple math. Let's say they bought $100,000 house and their guarantee was 25,000, and let's pretend that's the actual entitlement they have. I mean, again, it's 36, but I'm just using simple math, right? And they want to buy a $500,000 house, or they want to buy a new house, and the loan limit is 500,000. Well, because they already used up 100,000 of their loan, or 25,000 of their entitlement, they're not allowed to buy a $500,000 house. They have to buy a $400,000 house, right? Let's say it happens where it's a foreclosure. They bought a $100,000 house and they were given an entitlement of $25,000 and they foreclosed on it. But they want to buy another house now. Let's say it's been a couple years. They want to buy another house. Well, the loan limit is 500,000. Again, we're using simple math. Then they can actually buy up to 400,000 because they already used up 25,000 in the foreclosure. Okay. So you're almost treating the foreclosure like it's a house that they still own, they haven't sold yet. Okay. So the answer is, if you were to foreclose as a veteran, you can still buy with a VA loan depending on the situation, depending on the amount of house that you foreclosed upon, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So that's the way you have to look at it. Now, you can always get the entitlement back, but you have to pay the VA back, and you don't pay the VA back the amount that they paid to take care of your foreclosure. You most likely have to pay for the entire house that you foreclosed upon, which most people probably wouldn't want to do, right? I don't know the exact number. I've spoken to experts, VA experts, and because no one ever does it, we don't know the number. But the assumption that we made was that if you want your full entitlement back, you have to just pay for the foreclosure that you defaulted on, or whatever. And again, who would do that, right? They would just move on. They would just actually just buy more house or whatever and use cash towards down payment of the house, right? So that's how they handle foreclosures. Okay. And I think this is the last question, or the last part. I think I'm going to take questions. Does the VA have a max loan amount? Simply put, no. That's why we kind of laughed whenever they're announcing loan limits or increasing loan limits for the conventional loan, whatever. We're like, we haven't had a max loan limit in years, right? A veteran with full entitlement has no max loan limit. Okay. So basically, if they never bought a house, if they never foreclosed, and they can afford $1 million house, and the loan limit is $1 million, then they don't have to put anything down. Most likely not. It's not going to be the case, right? Most likely, the loan limit is going to be 540,000 or whatever the number it is we talked about earlier. Some cases, California, Hawaii, maybe places in New York, the county loan limit is higher. But whatever the county loan limit is, there's no max loan limit. Okay. So it says, what if the entitlement has been charged for an active foreclosure or an student loan? If the vendor does not have enough remaining entitlement to buy the home at zero down, he or she is responsible for the down payment of 25% of the difference between the max loan guarantee and the purchase price. Again, I've already kind of talked about this, right? I've talked about the fact that you have entitlement up to the max county loan limit, and anything above that, you have to bridge with 25% down, right? So that's really the answer to the max loan limit question, right? Hold on real quick. I got a message from my boss who's asking me to join a meeting, and he knows I'm doing this meeting right now. Perfect interruption. All right, cool. So, any questions on what we just covered? Oh yeah, of course. We busted the myth. You can only have one VA loan at a time. Well, no, that's not true. And I kind of explained to you why. Right? It's not really about the amount of loans. It's about the amount of entitlement you have left. Right? Now, yeah, if you bought a VA loan with using a VA loan, and you bought the max county loan limit, let's say it's 548,000, whatever, you bought that and you defaulted on it, you foreclosed upon it, then yeah, more than likely you can't get another VA loan, right? But that's not because you have one VA loan already. It's because you dried out your entitlement. There's nothing left there, right? So that's why that happens. Okay, but no, it's okay for you uh, to have two VA loans. Now, another question that people ask in the past is, I have a house right now that I'm selling. I used a VA loan and I want to buy another house with a VA loan. Can I do that? Yes, of course you can do that. It's very common that happens. It's very common that a veteran buys a house with a VA loan and then they want to move to another house and they want to use a VA loan. It's a very simple process. What happens is that the underwriter knows that we're going to get full entitlement back because this house is being sold, right? So once this house is being sold, then the entitlement gets renewed or whatever. I mean, I've actually physically done this, right? And then you can use that new COE with a new number on the new house, right? I had a colleague who pulled a COE, or certificate of eligibility, and the house was already sold. And they're like, it's showing that they've used up their entitlement. It shows that they don't have anything left. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, well, when you request it, submit the fact that the house is sold. They might not know that the house is sold. Submit that the house is sold and see what happens. And she did, and it renewed it, and it gave them back their full entitlement, right? So it's a very simple process. She did it online. She didn't even have to talk to a person. Okay. So yeah, it's very normal for someone to go from one VA loan to another VA loan and get their full entitlement back. It's reusable, basically. Okay. So I have a question here. Is the COE, or certificate eligibility, something the veteran need to apply for? Stephen, thank you for asking that question. No, they don't need to apply for it. They have access to it if they were to go through the VA, right? There's probably a portal of some sort that they can go through. Now, the cool thing is, us lenders, we can pull the COE as well. We have our own portals that we can use. So if the veteran has having problems producing the COE, we as a lender can provide that, or we can get it for them. Of course, we need permission and all this stuff, but yeah, we can pull it for them. But yes, that's something that they don't have to apply for. It's something they could. It's almost like just going online and just putting your information as the veteran, and then they'll give you the ability to click here to download your COE, right? And then you just do it, right? So very simple process. It's not complicated at all. In fact, a lot of certified veteran mortgage advisors, we suggest and sometimes insist that we look at a COE and we pull the COE before we even pull credit. So it depends, but yeah, it's something very simple. I think it's actually simpler than pulling credit. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Stephen. He asked again, is the COE something the veteran needs to apply for? Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna go through this real quickly again because I want to just do a better job of the math. Of course, if I can do a calculator, maybe I'll do a class where I actually write it down. It'd be easier. But I really want you to just kind of follow me on how the math works because the math is really where the answer lies, right? Can a veteran buy two houses with a VA loan? Can a veteran buy a house after foreclosing on a VA loan? The answer is it depends on how much entitlement they have left. Okay. Now, I actually asked experts, and we discussed this on the VA loan who are in the VA experts are in the field. We don't know why there's a basic entitlement and a bonus entitlement. We don't know why. We think we're guessing, we're theorizing that it's an evolution of the program. They decide to add the bonus entitlement, right? Maybe in the past, 144,000 was more than enough for anybody to buy a house, and it got outdated. And they're like, okay, we're just going to go and make this new rule, right? That might be the case. We don't know yet, okay, or we don't know. We haven't found out yet, and no one's answered the question. But the bottom line is, to make things simple, I just look at it as 25% of the loan limit, right? So I don't even care about the 144,000, 36,000. I don't care about that. That's what the paper says, right? So that's why it's kind of confusing. That's what the COE says. But in reality, if I talk to a veteran, I know they qualify for an entitlement and they had never bought a home with a VA loan for, I automatically know that they're going to be able to get 0% down up to the county loan limit. I already know that. So if they want to buy a $400,000 house, I'm like, you're good. Nothing to worry about, right? Of course, I pull a COE and everything like that, but I tell them that there's nothing for you to worry about in terms of entitlement. Okay. Again, very simple math, right? So the entitlement is 25% of the county loan limit, whatever that is. Okay. That's what their entitlement is. If they've used it up, we need to find out how much did they use it up because of a foreclosure, which most likely means it's gone because they're not going to pay back for the house, or is it because they bought a house before? If they did, what happened to the house? Do they still own it? Are they selling it? What happened to the house, right? If they sold it, then we can get that back. We can get the entitlement back. If they're holding on to it, they're keeping it for whatever reason, right? Then of course it's tied up to the house, so we can't use it, right? But you just subtract whatever the entitlement was used for that home. Most than likely 25%. So if they bought a $200,000 home, they probably used what's 25% of 200,000? 5,000. Actually, is that right? No, no, no. 200,000 is 50,000. Sorry, I don't know why I said 5,000. 50,000, right? So subtract 50,000 from the guarantee from the new loan limit, and that's how much you can buy, right? So in this case, if you look at it, the loan limit is 548,250. So the guarantee is $137,063, right? I will subtract 50,000 from that. Right. So let's go and do the math real quick, just so because we're kind of using this as an example, right? I'm gonna go ahead. I was asking a question here too. Good, awesome. Oh no, that's spam. Okay, so I'm gonna use a calculator. 137,000 is what the VA is willing to guarantee because the loan limit is 548,250, and they bought a $200,000 house and they're keeping it. So 25% of that is 50,000. Right. So let's subtract 50,000 from here. That's how much they have left in terms of entitlement. 25%. Multiply that times 4. That's the most they can buy. 348,252 at 0 down. Let's make it a little bit more complicated. Let's say they want to buy a $400,000 house. I'm sorry, $448,252 house, right? So the math is really simple, right? It's $100,000 more. So what's 25% of 100,000? 25,000. So they'll be able to buy a 400,000, 448, 400. Well, I'm always bad at this. $448,252,000, $252 house by only putting $25,000 down. That's really how you do the math, right? And of course, you really probably don't need to do the math. That's what we're here for. And trust me, I'm better at the math than I am at saying it. Okay. So you just let us do the math, but just so you understand like the realm of possibility, like if you're talking to veterans, like, oh yeah, I foreclosed on a house that you can kind of ballpark what what they might be eligible for at 0% now, right? Okay, cool. So someone asked, what if they did a short sale like 8 years ago? Again, the eligibility tells us everything, right? There's too many details to know. I'm thinking a short sale means they sold the house and hopefully recovered their money. If there's a shortage, that's a really complicated question that we would have to find out by looking at the COE, right? And if it's not clear on the COE, then of course we can do a little bit of deep dive. But I don't think a short sale is the same as a foreclosure, right? I don't think so. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So it I would just look at the COE immediately and do a little bit of investigating. Okay. So thanks for asking that question. It's a great question. And I probably should find out for sure. So the next time someone asks me that question, I can shoot out a confident answer right away. But my theory would be that it wouldn't be treated the same. And how much is the impact or whatever? Let's look at the COE, the certificate eligibility, and then we'll know for sure. Okay. All right. So any other questions? Okay, Steven's asking, can they buy a second home as an investment property? Again, the question is, and Steven's asking this, can they buy a second home? Okay, again, the question is, can they buy a second home as an investment property? The answer is yes, just not with a VA loan. Right. So, and the second home is a really bad word to use in that situation because a second home is a category of a type of house you can buy, and an investment property is a category of a house you can buy. That question, you're actually kind of combining the two, right? Which is not correct. Second home is kind of like a vacation home, someplace that you plan to occupy. You don't plan to make money off of it. That's what a second home is, like a vacation home, like I said. An investment property, you don't plan to live there. You plan to make money off of it. Someone else is going to be occupying the house. You are never expected to occupy that house. That's the difference, right? But yes, the answer is yes. You can, as a veteran, buy a second home as an investment property, just not with a VA loan. Right? If you're asking, can you use the VA loan? Absolutely not. The VA does not allow individuals to use the VA loan to buy anything except for a primary home. The idea is to help veterans move into a house that they can live in, not for veterans to go and make money, right? And getting a second home, that's kind of an overkill, right? Why are you getting a vacation home before we're worried about other people getting their primary home? So the VA loan is only for primary homes. Okay. So a veteran can buy an investment home or a second home, just not with a VA loan. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, cool. Any other questions? That was a good question. I really appreciate that, Stephen. I'm glad you asked it. Any other questions? Any other comments? Anything? Okay, so hopefully I explained the math part clearly enough for you guys to understand. I'm going to do it one last time just to see if I get it recorded correctly. Is very simple arithmetic. What you have used already, subtracted from what is available, is basically what the word problem is. So if you bought a $144,000 house and you want to buy another house using the VA loan, then you have to subtract the entitlement of the first house away from the new guarantee amount, right? So 25% is the rule of thumb. So in this case, I bought a $144,000 house, so I used up $36,000. The loan limit is for 548,250. So the guarantee is $137,063. So I subtract $36,000 from 137,063. So that leaves me with $101,063. And therefore, I can buy at most with a VA loan 404,250 ish. If I want to go above that, I got to cover 25% of it. If it's $1, I got to cover 25 cents. If it's $100, I got to cover $25. If it's $1,000, I got to cover $250. If it's $10,000, I got to cover $2,500 or $2,500. Right. So pretty simple math. Okay. So yeah, hopefully again that makes a lot of sense. And again, I probably should do maybe like a little whiteboard or something like that. Maybe I'll do that. I'll add that to my future classes. Okay. So again, VA myth busting. You can only have one VA loan at a time. It's busted. Right? I should do like an animation or something like that. All right, cool. So the VA loan is a loan that other buyers can only dream of obtaining. You've earned this right by serving our great nation, and it's my job to facilitate your dream of homeownership. Thank you for your service, and of course, thank you guys for being on this call. If you have any questions, or just call me, text me, email me, whatever you like. This is Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider, and certified veteran mortgage advisor. And I am going to do that again. All right, cool. So again, if you have any questions, give me a call, text me, email me anytime. This is Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider, and certified veteran mortgage advisor.